and then we are going to go ahead and get started. So I am so glad that you all could join us tonight. Um, we are a group of people that are a part of a mission that we call the Healthy Living Revolution. And it's a group of people that are wanting to help take health back in simple ways, in doable ways, and fun, and also in community, because it's always better to do something together. So tonight we're just going to share a little time together. I have around a 15-minute presentation, and then we're going to have some great stories that are really centered on just some special needs children. So I am really excited for you to be able to hear this information and hear the stories at the end of 3 women that have really found hope through this solution. So we're going to start out with kind of where we're at right now, and that is that there are 2 startling trends in our world today. And the first is that environmental toxins are on the rise. And whether it is that it's, unfortunately, the water we're drinking that's been medicated, or the air that we're breathing that has been polluted, or perhaps it's just what we're doing personally. And it could be that, we're just putting toxins on our skin and not even realizing that. And that could be, the perfume you're wearing or the lotion you're using, the detergent that is on your clothes. But we have a toxic load like none other today. It's certainly not our grandparents' world anymore, and our bodies are just taking in much, much more than they ever have. And at the same time that is going on, our food sources, our food quality is decreasing. And I'm sorry, I've got a little skip in my, let's see here. Okay, let's see. Okay, our food quality is decreasing, and unfortunately that's not great, because it's kind of the perfect storm. We've got, our toxins on the rise and our food quality that's decreasing. So this gentleman's in the middle of the store. If you're shopping in the middle of the store, you're probably not finding a lot of quality food. They're going to have all the things here listed on the side, and not a lot of, real food, not a lot of things that you can pronounce. And I know for me, when my journey started with nutrition, I began to shift how I looked at food, and rather than really focusing on calories and fat, which is what I was focused on, early on in my journey, I started to really look at the ingredients, okay? Because not all calories are created equal, and the ingredient list tells the real story. And so when I shifted to looking for 5 ingredients or less, and all of those that we can pronounce, right? Because if you pick up a box in the middle of that store, most likely the ingredient list, you're going to need glasses to read it, because there's going to be so many different ingredients, and most of them have like 7 syllables or more, and you can't pronounce them. And so when I started looking for just whole food ingredients, that was really where I saw my health begin to take a shift. And I know another hint for those, and I know many people joining tonight are health conscious already, but I know just a great rule of thumb is shopping the perimeter of the store and looking for foods that your grandmother would have been able to purchase, because that's going to be a real food. Dr. David Katz tells us a story that isn't really positive. He tells us that right now, this may be the first generation of children that are not going to have as long of a lifespan as their parents. Dr. David Katz is the head of Yale Prevention, and he has been talking about using food as medicine for a long, long time. And this is when we're not really focused on that, and we're just kind of going with the flow. These statistics are what we are finding ourselves up against. By age 12, many of our children have hardening of arteries, and what that's telling us is that we are just aging faster. We have greater toxins coming in, and then we don't have food protecting us, and so our bodies are aging at a greater rate. 1 in 3 children are obese, 1 in 3 children are developing diabetes, more than 25% of our children are taking prescription drugs, and we have doctors recommending statins to children as young as 8. And one thing that we're not talking, or is not on this list, but we've had a 15% or more increase in autism in the last year, and that is only on the rise. So we are looking at our children just having a really scary picture. And as we move on, Dr. Bill Sears, who's known as America's Pediatrician, and just is a lovely man who gave me a great peace of mind when I started my own parenting journey 17 years ago. He talks about what adults are facing, and it's really not much better. And I don't know about you, but as I read these statistics, they're more than statistics to me. They're really what I have witnessed in my own life as I've watched, women of younger age than myself deal with cancer multiple times, as I've watched people literally just die instantly from a heart attack. And I know for me personally, it just hits home because I kind of, when you're a kid, you don't really remember how old your parents are. But I remember my mom turning 45. I just remember that birthday for whatever reason. And I'm that age now, I'm 45. And I think about her back then. And when she was 45, that would have been 26 years ago, she didn't know one person with cancer. Like, that was not normal. And we think it is, but it's not. And it may be common, but it is not normal. And it's become our new norm, right? It's like it's what we come to expect. But in just, 2 decades, we have a very different health picture. So I want to leave you, there. That's kind of the bad news. But the reason that we're on this call tonight is because of that last quote that Dr. Sears shares with us, that 75% of all chronic disease is preventable. Okay, so we may hear that, all the news about genetics and, well, you just have a genetic disposition to this. But the reality is that's a very small percentage. Most of it is lifestyle, and we have a lot of say in that. And so I want to do just a little bit of education, so stick with me because this is a term that gets in a little bit in the weeds. But oxidative stress is linked to poor health, okay? So oxidative stress is kind of the foundation of disease. The opposite, the foundation of health, is going to be found in antioxidants. They're kind of on the opposite spectrum of each other. Oxidative stress happens in our bodies really just by living, but we can create more of it by how we live our lives. And so you might think, okay, well, that must be some negative things, right? So if we're heavy smokers or drinkers, absolutely, that's going to create more oxidative stress. If you're always out in the sun, that's more stressful. But what you may not realize is that good things in our lives can create oxidative stress. Some of the best things, being pregnant and carrying life. I have 8 children myself. I've been pregnant a whole lot, and that has created a lot of stress in my body. So there's a good thing that creates stress. And then exercise, which we always think of as being great, and it is. It strengthens our body, our muscles, our heart muscles, our lung muscles, but it's also stressful to us. And if we're not fueling our bodies well afterward, we actually can age our bodies more by exercising. And so, as I said, oxidative stress is really kind of the core, one of the legs that disease stands on. It's the foundation of all those diseases that we spoke about earlier, with diabetes and heart disease and cancer. But when we are able to fuel our bodies with antioxidants, we can really stop that aging process. And you see that with the woman there, both sides of her face. One is showing somebody who's been aging, and maybe you see that in somebody who spent a lot of time, out in the sun, or has just had a harder life. The same thing is happening on the inside of our bodies too, even though we can't see it. We are aging, our cells are rusting. And a good demonstration of this is the apple that you see there. When we cut open an apple and it's exposed to oxygen, it immediately starts browning. But what we can do to stop that browning, I learned when I was a girl and we were taking a fruit salad to my grandma's house, and my mom would say, put lemon juice on that so it won't brown. I never knew why that was the case, but I've learned now that's because lemon juice is an antioxidant and it stops the aging of the apple. It's the same thing in our body. When we flood our bodies with nutrition, with antioxidants, which are only found in plants, right, in fruits and vegetables and berries, then we can slow down that process in our bodies. Unfortunately, though, our produce today is packing a much less nutritional punch than it ever has before. And there are a couple of reasons of that before. It would take a whole nother, Zoom call to go into them. So I'm going to just touch briefly on 2. The first one is soil depletion. And unfortunately, and really just because of greed, really, we just are trying to grow more and do more. We have overgrown and overused our soil, and we haven't given it time to rest. We haven't spent time replenishing that, and we are connected. It all goes together. We're connected to the earth, and when we have a depleted earth, depleted soil, then we grow depleted plants. And when we eat depleted plants, then we grow and produce depleted people. And you can't get away from that connection. And so that's the first reason that our produce is just less. I mean, I've heard somebody say it's nutritionless produce, it's nutritionless nutrition. And the second reason, and a really, really important one, is that nothing or hardly anything anymore in the store is vine ripened. We are picking it 2 to 3 weeks before it's ripe and shipping it, from far away, other countries. I don't know about you, but when I go to my local Aldi, I can buy, peppers from Mexico, I can buy tomatoes from Chile, and I know that it's taken weeks for them to be picked and shipped to me. And what I didn't realize, though, is when I go to the store and pick up those green bananas or the hard avocados, or in the summer, the hard peaches, I didn't know that when I brought it home and ripened it on my counter, that I may be able to get it to be ripe, but I'll never get the nutrition that would have been in it if it had been picked on the vine. And what I've learned is that over 90% of the nutrition of the plant goes into that fruit and vegetable at the very end. That's what, as it's ripening, that's because the plant is sending all that nutrition into that fruit or vegetable. And so when we pick it not ripe, we just don't have as nutritionally dense as of a fruit or veggie that we would have. And this picture, I think, really gives us just a great, illustration of what the fact is, of what the reality is. In a few years ago, the National Institute of Health did a study comparing spinach in 1953 that they had frozen and had that they could compare. And they found that it took 43 bowls of spinach in 1997 to equal the same one in 1953. So I think that explains why we are where we are, why those statistics are true. We are trying, we may be even eating, servings of fruits and veggies every day, but they're just not what they used to be. And that's where we're ending up with this sickness and disease. And I think, back in the late 50s and early 60s, we're already seeing that deficiency. And so the government decided we're going to do something about this. And we came up with a multivitamin, 12 to 15 essential vitamins and minerals. And we thought that we could take those and we could make a difference. But as we've said, no, the health picture hasn't gotten better. It's really only gotten worse. So the vitamin is not doing the trick. When nobody is getting healthier because they're taking their multivitamin. And the reason being is because it cannot imitate, it can't supplement whole food. And so you see on the screen, these 12 to 15 vitamins, but then you see this apple, and there's just a few listed, about 400 here, but there are actually over 20,000 phytonutrients in one apple, okay? And they all work together in different ways synergistically to be effective in the body. So when we try to isolate one, it just doesn't have the same punch as if it's all together in the apple. A couple examples of this would be vitamin C. 1,500 milligrams of vitamin C in the body does the same thing as 4 milligrams in an apple, right? You have to take a ton more, but it doesn't really do anymore if you just ate it in the whole food. Another example is lycopene, which in the last years was getting a lot of press as to being this up and coming phytonutrient that was going to help prostate cancer, because they were seeing tomatoes really do something with prostate cancer. So they went ahead and isolated lycopene and they put it in the little petri dish, and it absolutely did nothing against cancer on its own. In the tomato, though, it's a powerhouse. So we were made to eat real food. We were not made to eat vitamins. And, when I'm talking to my kids, I just talk about there's no vitamin trees out there, right? But there are plenty of apple trees, and that's what we are supposed to be eating. And how much are we supposed to be eating? A lot. 7 to 13 servings a day. And that's if you're just, normal, living a normal life. But if you're, fighting disease, if you're pregnant, or if you exercise or are any kind of athlete at all, you're looking at upwards of 16 to 20 servings of vine ripened produce. So I don't know about you, but the thought of preparing that all and buying it all, preparing it all, and then eating it all, that's a lot in a day for anybody to do day in and day out. And so what we found, my family found a few years back, is this beautiful array of 30 different fruits, vegetables, and berries that are vine ripened. And we call it our one simple change. And this is the Juice Plus line. And I want to share with you just briefly how it got started. There was a doctor who was helping helping cancer patients to get better by juicing. And his own father was diagnosed with cancer. He was given 3 weeks to live. Dr. Smokey brought him to his office and just started pumping him full of juice, but it wasn't really doing what it needed to do as quickly. His father was very, very sick. And so he got the idea, what if I took and made a more powerful juice by taking the pits and the peels and the seeds and the rinds and putting it all into a juice. And so that's what he did. And then he dehydrated it and he took out the water and the sugar and he was left just with plant powders. And when he did that, I mean, that was really, essentially, that was Juice Plus. And he ended up giving it to his dad. His dad got better. He ended up living 6 more years, having amazing quality of life. And Juice Plus, the product line, was born. So that is Juice Plus, the picture of it. And I want to share with you just a few things that set it apart, because there really is nothing else like it on the market. And the first thing is that it is whole food, okay? So it's that slide that showed the apple. That's what it is. And if you turn the bottle around, and I forgot to grab my bottles tonight, but if you would turn the bottle around, you would see on the back a nutrition label, okay? Every other thing out there is going to have a supplement label, because that's what it is. A supplement says that's not, the body doesn't recognize it as food. The body's not going to be able to use it as food. It's a supplement. Juice Plus is regulated by the FDA, just like your bag of spinaches or your bag of carrots. And if it was going to be sold in the stores, which it's not, it would be in the produce section. So it is just food, which sets us apart. So it has all those phytonutrients. It's non-GMO, it's dairy-free and gluten-free. The second thing that sets it apart is its NSF certification. And that is a third party that certifies that everything that Juice Plus says is in it is, and nothing that you would not want in it is not. And so this is where we touch on, is it organic? And you know what? It's not organic, and I couldn't be happier about that. It's beyond organic, that's what we call it. Because whether or not you realize it, organic produce, although a step up from conventional, in no way means that they are not spraying anything on it. There is still a number, up to 200 different toxins that have been approved for them to spray on organic produce, just at a lesser amount. Juice Plus guarantees that nothing is sprayed, and the NSF certification is your peace of mind that that is true. And then the third thing that sets it apart is the clinical research on it, okay? So this is a big deal, because there aren't other products out there with this level of research on it. Over 35 clinical studies, actually approaching 40 now. And these are not done, at a Juice Plus lab. They are done at prestigious universities all around our country that wanted to use the Juice Plus product and to test it to show a myriad of different things. And they have all been published. It's unlike pharmaceuticals that, can kind of just keep publishing or keep trying to find something that's positive and bury all the rest. Every study that has been done on Juice Plus has been published. It's just been all really positive. So I want to share one particular study with you very quickly, because I think it's just a great study that shows the power of nutrition in a very short time. This was done by a group of cardiologists at the University of Maryland who wanted to study the vasoconstriction of our arteries after a high-fat meal. So 4 to 6 hours after eating a high-fat meal is when most heart attacks and strokes are going to occur, and they knew that. So they took a group of people to a fast food restaurant and fed them a fast food breakfast, a high-fat breakfast, and then they took them back to their office, and they went ahead and measured that vasoconstriction. So basically, how much their arteries were constricting after a meal. And everybody at the beginning had around between 40 and 50% constriction. So their body was working 50% harder after that meal. Their blood flow was constricted, which is not a good thing, right? So they sent home a placebo group, a group on our fruits and veggies, and then a group on our fruits, our veggies, and berries. 28 days, they did nothing different, okay? No exercise regime was started, no brand new diet was started. They just took their Juice Plus. They came back, had the same meal 28 days later, and obviously the placebo group, as you see, is the large bar here. Nothing changed, and we wouldn't expect anything to change. They didn't do anything different. The people with our orchard or our fruits and veggies, they had 68% less constriction, which is amazing. And I would like, that's great. But the people that added our berries in had 98% less constriction. So basically their arteries didn't constrict at all, which what this says to me is that you don't have to be perfect, right? I mean, you can have that McDonald's breakfast if you want, but when you're fueling your body with really great nutrition every day, your body can offset that toxic load. That's those toxins that we talked about are just coming at us that we can't control. But when we fuel our body well, we do have something that we can do. We do have something proactive that we can do. And so that is really kind of the backstory about Juice Plus. We do have just a couple other products, which I love. We have a really small product line. We do one thing and we do it really, really well. And so I want to hit just briefly on our complete shakes, which are a plant-based protein and just the best fast food really that you could, we talked about fast food, right, in that study. This is another kind of fast food. It is fast, but it is so nourishing. I have one every single day and I absolutely love them. They're the best tasting shake. And you can use them as a shake. You can make a pudding. You can make pancakes out of them, muffins. There's so many ways that you can use this complete shake mix. They're gluten and dairy free as well. And as I think I mentioned, a plant-based protein with a lot of prebiotic fibers and oligosaccharides, which there is something you might think, oh, I don't know how to pronounce that. But those are actually things that help heal your gut. So they are a good thing. And then finally, we have our omegas, which were introduced 2 years ago. This is another area that people were trying to bridge a gap. We cannot make omegas on our own. And so we need to supplement those. These are so important. And I think a couple things I want to highlight here is that the American Pediatric Association is actually looking to supplement children that are having, they're looking like they have autism and or struggling with ADD or ADHD. They're wanting to go to omega supplementation before they would start any medication. And so that it shows really just some promise there with children that are struggling from those things. There's a gut and a brain connection, and the omegas are just wonderful for that. So we cut out the fish. That is something that makes our omegas unique because fish get their omegas from algae. And so we went straight to the algae, and then we added 4 other plants in because all omegas are found in plants. So it's a wide spectrum. And there's some great research that's coming out on our omegas that are showing that very quickly it increases the omega saturation in our blood, which is amazing because my own doctor sent me a study that was done just recently that is linking the shrinkage of our brains to lack of omegas. And so the next connection is, okay, is that also to do with Alzheimer's patients who show the same sort of symptoms with their brain shrinking? Is there a connection there? I don't know about you, but anything that slows the shrinking of my brain, I think I am all about. So the next thing about Juice Plus, and we have just 2 more slides, is that it's affordable. That's like the best thing ever because produce and organic produce and vine ripened organic produce, which is almost impossible to find, is expensive. So Juice Plus is so economical. It's a couple dollars a day. And I know for me, when I go to, Fresh Time here to buy a couple organic apples, I'm spending a couple of dollars. So we all have habits in our lives, some that serve us and some don't. And I feel like Juice Plus is just that wonderful habit that I can do every day that is serving me well. And the best part is that children eat free. So if you see that there on your screen, that is true. With one adult taking Juice Plus, a child from the ages of 4 to 18 can take Juice Plus for free up to 4 years. And so I want to end with this. This is a quote from Dr. Richard Dubois, who is the head of infectious diseases in Atlanta and was one of the first of thousands of doctors that has jumped on board to recommend Juice Plus to their patients. And he says this: there is nothing available anywhere else in the world with or without prescription that is proven to do in the body what Juice Plus does. So thank you for listening, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to go ahead and ask Jamie if she could unmute herself and if she could share with us just about her story. You there, Jamie?
Hi. All right, first of all, I want to thank everyone for coming. I'm doing this, and I invite people because I care about your health. I want people to learn this excellent information and have the opportunity to help take control over their health. I don't want everyone to have to continue to put Band-Aids over symptoms and instead learn to prevent disease and other health issues. So my story is about a month and a half ago, I was still looking to resolve some chronic health conditions that I've been dealing with for years. And of course, I'm always looking for ways to help Colby. For those of you who do not know, my 6-year-old son, Colby, has autism. We've seen improvements in Colby's health and in my health since eliminating some things from our diet in February of 2017, but it still seemed like a piece was missing. And then I learned about a simple way to flood our bodies with over 30 fruits and veggies every single day. Now I've experienced an increase in energy. My seborrheic dermatitis has cleared up. My rosacea has cleared up about 50%. And some of my other health conditions are improving. As for Colby, we've noticed in some situations he is more patient. And then when speaking to his teacher recently about his spelling test that he got 100% on, and about his verbal capability, she mentioned how all of a sudden he's talking so much more that he's just exploded verbally. And she had no idea that I had started him on anything new. Then about a week and a half later, one of his Sunday school teachers made the same comment. So I'm not saying that school isn't playing a part or therapy is not playing a part, but it seems like now he's pulling these things together and he's able to use them more, and his speech is more functional. And I know that, this is feeding his brain and helping and enable him to do these things that he's being taught to do. So it's just really been a blessing to us. And I just want to share that with people, be a blessing to others, and glorify God with what he has given us.
Thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing. And it's just wonderful to hear in such a short time that you've already seen those kind of results. And I think kids are resilient, and that's just proof of what you're seeing. All right, thank you. Okay, Tessa, if you can unmute yourself, we would just love to hear about your story.
Hi, everyone. So I hope you can all hear me. I am in a hotel because I travel a tremendous amount, and I met these lovely ladies because I am a neuromovement practitioner, and what I do is I feed the brain through movement to help children with special needs, like my son and daughter, be able to have more access to different parts of their brain through movement. So that's a very condensed discussion of what neuromovement is. But my son is 11 now, and he has been G-tube fed since he was 15 months. So he has had Pediasure, which was a total nightmare. And then we upgraded to like a blended diet, which we have to cook everything down. His food is this color of this wall, and it is mush, but it's better than Pediasure. And we have really come a long way with him, but it takes a lot of with just the mush food, the blended diet. It takes a lot of things to help his gut stay healthy. It takes a lot of oils, avocado oil, and different things to get him to go to the bathroom. After we started, within days of just adding the 3, he was going to the bathroom on his own. Well, he's still diapered, but he was going to the bathroom on his own. After we added the omegas, he is going on the potty. I think for whatever reason, he is sensing his body now. His teachers, again, not knowing what we're doing, what we're adding, he is much more calm at school. He is signing more. He is sleeping better. His bathroom habits are better. He is identifying when he needs to go. And that's all within the last couple of months. So that has been tremendous. And then I have a daughter who had a stroke, and I had her on the gummies. And then a couple of you guys suggested that I try to give her the capsules, which she loves, but she has had a tremendously stressful couple of months. And once we switched from the gummies to the capsules, it's like everything is clicking for her. She's calming down. She's sleeping better. We had her on all sorts of things. She's been hospitalized, but I posted a picture today. She is like, she has her capsules in her hand and she wants to take them because she feels better. And for a 9-year-old to be able to recognize that, this handful of beautiful pills is helping her feel better when, we have tried so many different things. To me, that's life changing.
Wow.
So that, and I play videos when I drive just to listen to them, and she watches them. So we watched one of the videos from the conference where there was a woman who had a son with Down syndrome. And she said, "Mommy, that's going to be you, except it'll be me and Bubby up there." And I was like, hey, I don't think that's a bad idea. So I think she kind of picked my path for me. But with all of the stress and all of the things that we have had, unexplainable stress over the last month, well, three months total, my shakes have like saved my bacon. I am working out again. I can sleep. I feel like I can breathe, and all in a period where events like this before would have had me with migraines and gut issues, and I don't have any of that. Like, I'm healthier now with an immense amount of stress than I've ever been.
Wow. Oh,
so I'm happy.
Oh my goodness, Tessa, that is amazing. I want to stand up and
yay me!
Yes. No, what a great story. I'm so grateful that, and Nikki, we're going to hear from her in a moment, that Nikki shared with you, and just look at how many things have changed for you in such a short time. And it's just the power of food, right? And just in concentration. That is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. So appreciate it.
Thank you guys for everything. I'm saying, you guys, this has gotten me through the last 3 months of extreme stress, and where I'm still standing. So I'm thankful for you guys.
Awesome. Oh, well, Nikki, I'd love for you to share real quickly. I know you have a story too, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the call.
Yeah. How do you follow that one?
Right?
So yeah, I'll just share quickly. So I started taking Juice Plus and joined this mission after my dear friend Julie shared it with me, and I wanted to do something better, and I knew that this would be giving my family the best nutrition possible. So through the past couple years, we've seen a lot of improvements, but our biggest improvement that we've seen was just recently with my 3-year-old. He's a special needs kid, and we have been dealing with extreme agitation where for hours he was screaming and he was harming himself. And as a mom, that is just heartbreaking to go through. Our whole family was just so drained dealing with this. And he was already taking the capsules, but it was when we made some other changes and we decided to add in the Juice Plus Omega that we saw huge improvements. Since we've added that Omega, he has not tried harming himself, and the episodes that he has are much more mild. And we're just so thankful that we've had this improvement, because the quality of life in our household has just improved so much with this. So that's my quick story with Moses.
Oh, thank you so much, Nikki. And that is just wonderful. And I'm sure, as you said, brings so much peace of mind to know you are doing what you can and you're seeing some results with him as well. So, well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you hear the heart behind this company and behind this mission, because it really is to share with you something different, right? I mean, when we do more of the same and expect a different outcome, that's the definition of insanity. But we can try something different. And what I love about Juice Plus, the company is amazing that they've given us the ability to do this, but you guys, it's the power of food. It's what we've been given. It's what our bodies run on. And when we have it in the way that we're supposed to, in great amounts, our bodies just are able to function and to heal. So get with the person who invited you to this call, and I'm sure they would be happy to share with you just how you would be able to go about purchasing Juice Plus if that's your desire. So we hope that you learned something this evening, and thank you so much for taking time out to join us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.